Hey, what's going on? Jason Rogers here, and in this video, what I want to do for you guys, those of you guys who've been following me since I left Dan Pena's castle, what I want to do is share with you where I'm at. It's day 74, and I believe I did my math correctly. I left the castle on November 18th of 2018. Today is February 1st of 2019. So you can go back and look at the days. I believe today is day 74. And I don't exactly know, right? But that's about where I'm at. So anyways, wanted to give you guys an update. Wanted to share with you guys where I'm at, what I'm up to, what I'm thinking about at this stage, hopefully to give you some insight if you are trying to build a business using the acquisition model so that you can kind of understand what the different steps are. And so in short, we are very close now to basically signing an LOI and more importantly, getting an acquisition target or maybe two under contract. And look, I'm not an expert on this topic. I'm figuring all of this out on the fly. Okay, that's again the value of the board, the ability that you have to ask them questions. And if you interview them correctly up front, like I talked about in the How to Recruit Your Board video, and you tell them from the beginning who you are as well as who you're not, and if you're straight up about what you do know as well as what you don't know, what you bring as well as what you don't bring, then it's really easy to ask them questions and ask them questions about the details. You're not pretending that you've done this before. You're saying, hey, look, that's why I reached out to you because I'm trying to do this right the first time. Any rates, what I'm saying though is we are about to, enter due diligence and then ultimately we'll pay them. And what I'm going to do and what we're doing is in short, we're going to lock up the acquisition target or maybe two. And then we will have either 30, 45, or 60 days, I believe, to conduct the due diligence and either stay in the deal and then pay or pull out. And that's basically how it goes, if I am not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure this is correct. I'm almost guaranteed how this goes. Certainly in real estate, and most likely in other acquisitional processes as well. But what you do essentially, and what I've been doing and what we've been doing, is we've been finding tons of acquisition targets. We've been making off-market calls, cold calls, if you will, to owners. What I can say is that's actually not been as effective as I had been hoping. At this stage, we've used brokers and postings online, just competing with the good old-fashioned world at large to make that first acquisition. And it's competitive, as you can imagine, when you are competing on an online forum. The good targets I've been watching for about 2 weeks now as we've been getting closer to the point where we are ready to pull the trigger now that we have our law firm confirmed, our board confirmed, and actually I'm still waiting to get the Big Four accounting firm to officially sign the engagement letter. These big firms move more slowly when you don't have an in, right? So for example, with the law firm, if you recall, I was able to get an engagement letter signed very quickly because I used my board, actually, one of the lawyers, to reach out to his lawyers, and in short, they brought me an engagement letter pretty darn quickly. But on the side of the accountants, I did that from scratch myself, and I slowly yet surely climbed the ladder all the way to a Big Four accounting firm. Therefore, it has taken me probably almost 2 months to go from scratch all the way to we're about to get a signed engagement letter from one of the Big Four accounting firms. There's like the associate level, the manager level, and then the partner level at most accounting firms, at least. The lower level individual. She's a great girl. She's going to be a pleasure to work with. But she's the one right now. She just asked me yesterday about all the questions. What's the parent company name exactly? What's it going to be formed as? What's your name or what's your address? All this different stuff, right? And by the way, right, when you sign the engagement letters, I'll just hit on this a little bit because I've been getting asked some questions about how do you close up the accounting firms and the law firms. And by the way, one of you guys also asked, how do you pitch them to close them on a success fee basis, right? How do you close them down on a success fee basis? It all goes down to your thesis. Does your business make a ton of sense? Do you speak with a ton of conviction? And do you have a huge goal? If you're aiming high, you're speaking with certainty, and the ideas at which you are sharing make sense on a business level, aka the margins are good, the industry's fragmented, there's a lot of mom and pop owners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you're able to explain it through that lens, then accounting firms as well as law firms as well as board members, and then in time, obviously investors, everyone is going to come around. In the bank, they're all going to say, yeah, we're on board. right? So that's really how you do that. But what I'm saying is that this is the process of building your team. You have your chairman, your board. Your board consists of your non-executive CFO. So you have your chairman, your non-executive CFO. You have a lawyer, aka ideally an M&A lawyer. You have an accountant. Some people say it needs to be an audit partner. Some people prefer to have an M&A type of accounting individual on their board. We actually have an individual with both. We have two accountants. And then you have your industry experts. And that's pretty much your team. We have a bigger team. I purposely decided to stack the team deep. But that's how you build your team. And then once you have your team, then you get your accountants and your lawyers. And then once you're at that stage, and now I'm at that stage where I'm just waiting for the fucking paperwork to finish. You know what I'm saying? With one of the big four accounting firms that we're ultimately going to be working with here any day now. I was really hoping, it's actually a Friday evening at the time of recording this, I was hoping that my gal over at the local office was going to get it to me before 5 on Friday, but she didn't. So unless if something comes in post 6:30 p.m. on a Friday, which is unlikely, but you never know, we'll probably close and have it wrapped. I mean, you know what it is when they keep bringing partners, when you keep getting a hold of the partner at that law firm or that accounting firm, that means you pretty much got them wrapped. If they keep sending that partner to talk to you, or if they keep sending different partners and multiple partners to talk to you, which all of those things have happened with me, with the accounting firms that I've been clear I could have closed up, right? So that's how you close the accounting firms. But now let's talk about the fun stuff. In one sec, I got a little glass of wine here, so I'm going to enjoy a little bit of that. We've gone with a white wine on this delightful evening. The ice, that makes it real nice. Actually, I remember the first time I ever dated a girl that was older than me, and she invited me over to her place, and she was kind of teaching me the ropes about drinking wine and about adult things. And she introduced me white wine with ice, and I've always been a huge fan. So the white wine with ice, it's a winning play. I'm into it. But moving along, how about moving into the stage where you're going to buy a fucking company, right? Let's cut down to that. Let's talk about that. What I can tell you is this is where money talks and bullshit walks. When you get to the stage where you have your team, and what you want to have once you build your team, and I was doing this when I was still building the team. Once I had the internal board built, but I was negotiating with the accountants and lawyers, I was also talking to bankers, talking to potential investors, things of that nature. Now, I was doing that because I like to think 3 steps ahead. Some people play checkers, some people play chess, and I'm not saying I'm some world-class chess player, but I am saying that I like to think 3, 4, 5, 6 steps ahead if I can and when I can. And this is something I've been doing. Now, I'll be honest, I don't believe Dan Pena recommends you do what I've done in his QLA methodology, but I'll also be honest in saying sometimes I feel that Mr. Pena makes QLA very much a one-size-fits-all template. And look, Dan Pena is a business genius. I've said that on the record before. I want to say it again. But what I'm saying is I was a little bit more creative. I didn't look to buy a business before I had everything wrapped up, but I have reached out to brokers and to different online listings and put in feelers. Hey, what about, hey, I got a question about this. I got a question about that. I got a question about that. So what I've been doing is I've been building up my acquisition shortlist. I had an initial short list of 31 acquisition targets. I filled in all of the key information for each of those targets. For me, there were 7 key factors I was looking for initially. Now we are looking for 10 things or 11 things. And ultimately, based on those 10 to 11 factors, we're going to probably enter into a contract. And in our industry, you'd need to pay usually 1% of the purchase price down. So that does mean it does help, and by the way, in a QLA, to have a couple of bucks to your name or to pull out a line of credit, use your good credit, get a credit card, whatever. A couple of bucks in your war chest, whether it's yours or you have somebody that, you kind of say, hey, if you loan me 20 grand, I'll get you back with 100 in a year or 2 years. What do you say? I'm not necessarily recommending that, but there's more than one way to get money. But my point is you will need a couple of pretty pennies to really, I would say, go from, first of all, if you go to the castle, that's, 15, 20 grand. Then you get back and you pretty much focus all on QLA, or at least a large part of your day into QLA every day. You're not making as much money from your traditional job. And, I'll be the first to say I'm on record to probably close a deal. If everything goes right, 75, 80. If everything goes right, we could close a deal in 110 days. That's kind of where we're on track to be right now, is about 110 days. If today is indeed day 75 since I left the castle, the first day for me would have been November 19th. If that's, if that makes today February 1st, 75 days, then yeah, we're probably going to sign an LOI in 5 days from now. If we do the 30-day of due diligence and then close on the 31st day, then we will close a deal in 110 days. I've been moving things pretty damn fast. And I believe you guys will comment and know more, but I'm pretty close to, if I were able to do that, and we'll see. Look, the proof's in the pudding. I still have everything to prove. All right, I'll be the first to say. I haven't done shit yet. But if that happens as I plan, if everything goes according to plan, then yeah, I think we will have done a deal in 110 days. But the point I'm trying to illustrate is if you go to the castle, you're out 20 grand, and then you're going to go for 110 plus days, most likely, and by all means, beat whatever I do, beat it, but you're going to go 100 some odd days, and you're probably not going to make a lot of money. You're certainly not going to make any money from QLA until you close that first deal. So there's some time you have to find a way to, eat a lot of top ramen, live on the cheap, I don't know, live under a bridge and take your clothes to the laundry, get creative, not literally, I hope, for you, but you get what I'm getting at. Now, along the lines of competitiveness as it relates to closing deals quickly, another item I wanted to talk about in this video is that as much as I'm all for the competition of getting deals done, and I am, trust me, I'm a competitive guy. I want to get this deal done as soon as possible for myself, for my family, for you guys, for everything. Just why the fuck wouldn't I want to get a deal done, right? That said, I have not been pushing full gas only to get a deal done. There's been another key element on my mind, and that has been building an incredible foundation for the future. For me, the other big thing I think about every day is building the right foundation for the future, making sure the team is gelling, making sure my relationships with the accounting firm and the law firm is steady, and most importantly, making sure I make a great first acquisition and I don't fuck up the first acquisition. For me, I'm buying an asset class within the real estate hub, right? We're consolidating the mobile home park industry, and what I can tell you is that when you're buying a piece of real estate, in my case, it's a mobile home park. For you, it's whatever you buy. You don't want to buy a lemon, so you better understand your industry really fucking well, all the way down to the details, at least in my opinion. Now, that's a little contrary to Dan Pena. Dan Pena basically says, fuck it, just buy it, buy top line, fuck the rest. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but if you guys study him a lot, Dan Pena says, drive top line revenue, fucking go to the gunfire and kill everyone in your fucking way. Like, that is literally what Dan Pena believes. And look, respect. What I'm saying is that I'm trying to build $1 billion business, so we're trying to build a hell of a foundation. And I'm a big believer in a team. I'm a big believer in making sure that the relationships between your team are strong. And I'm a big believer in, for me, knowing what I'm buying beforehand and knowing how to manage it and operate it a bit beforehand so that we can get right fucking there, day one, feet on the ground, knowing what we're doing. Sure, my board knows what they're doing, but as the CEO at this time and the leader, certainly, and as the principal, with the majority stake in this business that we're trying to grow to $1 billion business, for me, there's just been a huge emphasis on doing my due diligence into the industry. I've gone to industry conferences. I have taken a lot of time to study my industry when you could say I didn't need to, when I could have been smiling and dialing more. I could have been sending more outbound emails. I could have been reaching out to more banks. I could have been doing other things that would have been, in the short term, pushing me closer to a first deal faster. But what I've done a bit is try to make sure I know what the fuck I'm doing long term. Now, as it relates to the action items that really push deals to the forefront, what I would say is this is a numbers game. Right when I got back from the castle, I released a video. It's titled "The One Law That Equals Success in Sex" or something like that. It was one of the last dating-esque videos I really recorded on this channel. And you can check it out. It's in the playlist, in the QLA business playlist. But in that video, I talk about if you want to get a hot date, then go talk to 15 or 20 different women instead of talking to 2 or 3. Because if you talk to 15 or 20 women versus only talking to 2 or 3 women, you're going to probably have 5 or 10 times more dates than the former. You get what I'm saying, right? The more women you talk to, the more dates you get. Same thing in business. And trust me when I say, a guy that has now built the board, built the chair, has the Big Four accounting firm finishing up their engagement letter, has an international law firm on our team. Now we have I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of connections with investors on LinkedIn that I can send them an audio recording. By the way, this is going to work. Watch, I'm calling this right now. I'm calling this for my future self. The audio recording functionality on LinkedIn. Fuck, dude. If you're good on the phone, if you speak with conviction, you know, and I'm not going to go through my whole funnel here. I actually have a video that's going to come out soon about how to get investors, how to recruit investors. But what you do essentially is you recruit investors into your funnel using LinkedIn the same damn way you recruit your board. And then, you send them like 3 messages. The first message can be, hey, my name is, blankety blank. I'm the principal at blankety blank company. We're consolidating this industry for that reason and this reason. I'm reaching out because we are currently raising a fund to make a future acquisition, and we're going to give our investors high returns. If this interests you, let's talk further. Best your name. And it has to be a little shorter than that on LinkedIn if you connect with them, and then you get to send them a little message. It's like 50 words or something. I don't know. It's like 3 sentences, 4 sentences. So you have to get your pitch tight. But you send them that, and then they connect, and then you can say, hey, thanks for accepting my connection. And then you send them a long form thing like, hey, let me give you more information about this. Thanks for accepting my connection. It's, so the second message, when they accept your request, usually they won't reply to you, but they will accept your connection. So then you say, hey, thank you for accepting my connection. Let me share a little bit more information. And then you give them, the 500 word or the 300 word pitch. And then at that point, it's, if you'd like to learn more, share your email and I'll send you over our full investors package. And so this is what I've done ahead of time is I've just put people through a funnel, individuals that have classified themselves as investors. I've put them through a marketing funnel where, I sent probably several thousand outbound messages. Of those, I've probably received 500 to 800 new connections, which is like a Facebook friend, the equivalent on LinkedIn, right? So I have hundreds of new friends or followers, whatever you want to call them, that I can then message as much as I want, as long form as I want. Now, don't bombard people with messages. Only send them information on occasion. It's one of the cognitive biases that makes good salespeople, and good marketers and good marketers and good salespeople. It's the law of scarcity. When you appear in somebody's inbox less, or when you don't always call and when you don't always text, you seem more valuable, right? And you've probably seen this. You always chase the girl that doesn't respond back all the time, but the girl that always is available, you're not interested in her, right? If the girl's too easy, you're like, get out of here, girl. It's that girl that's hard to get that guys usually chase. You see the same thing in reverse with women chasing men, and you see the same thing in business. See, the principles of life are the fucking principles of life. But what I'm getting at here, brother, is by having this funnel and then slowly but surely moving people through the funnel and actually taking your time is key. So when somebody accepts your connection, wait 3 days and then say, hey, thanks for accepting my connection. Let me share more information. And then you send them, 500 words or whatever. That pause is key. And trust me, I'm a guy, I was teaching dating and I'm good at marketing and sales and copywriting, and you could call it persuasion. I'm just telling you, this shit works. I studied this at UCLA and Stanford. I studied a lot of these principles at good schools. I'm telling you, this stuff works, so use it. But when you do message, make sure you have something to say of real value. And at this point, if you're reaching out to investors now, mention your board directly or indirectly. Whether you name drop and say, Rick Zerflu, chairman of Alcoa, or Bobby Smith, Big Four accountant at KPMG. If you want to say that right away, you can. And look, name dropping never hurt. Name dropping does work. But what I like to do is, at first I say, hey, Brighter Living, we're doing this, and that for all these reasons. We're consolidating this industry. It's pretty high margin. It does pretty well in virtually all markets for this and that reason. Moreover, we have this team that's helping us. It includes, two former Big Four accountants, 2 top lawyers with Ivy League degrees, 3 real estate experts with experience in X, Y, and Z in particular, as well as, an investment banker and a this and a that. And like, dude, the whole fucking team, we just lay it on. And that works, especially when you finish with a little bit more insight into your industry. Always be teaching people about your industry, by the way. If you're the one teaching them about your industry, they, in their minds, position you as the expert and therefore an individual of persuasiveness and credibility and authority. You want to be an authority figure when you're selling. And you should be, because you should be doing your fucking homework. You know what I'm saying? I get all fired up because I get a lot of questions where you can tell people are lazy. Some of you guys are lazy, and I don't know how else to say it. Some of you guys are lazy. Some of you aren't, and I respect the fuck out of those of you guys who are not lazy. But if you're lazy, looking for the easy shortcut, what website do I look up my industry on? Or, like, fuck. It's like, dude, you're not going to have success with this program, okay? QLA is not easy. Let me say that 75 days in, more or less. QLA is not easy. It can be done. If you don't have a pretty developed self already, it's going to be tough as fuck. For me, I joke, but I've been training for this my whole life, doing other things. Sales, cold approach dog and chicks, aka cold approach pickup. I've traveled internationally. I've put myself on different continents. I went to South America about a year ago and didn't know anyone down there. When I showed up, literally didn't speak the language, didn't know a single soul in 3,000 miles. I started Peak Under Pressure back in 2016. There were challenges with that. I've done a lot of things that have pushed my comfort zone, and I'm not here to brag. That's not my point at all. What I'm trying to share is you better work your ass off whether you have natural skill or whether you've developed yourself or not. For me, I didn't have natural skill, but I've developed myself. But whether you're natural or you develop yourself, you probably need to have a little bit of yourself built up. Like if you're a lazy guy that doesn't articulate well, that doesn't speak with any conviction, that has a limp handshake, that's tough. You need to square that away. I would try something smaller as a way to grow yourself before you try QLA. Or the acquisition model of buying revenue instead of creating it. But what I'll say is if you develop yourself a bit and then you work your ass off, you can win, especially using all these videos I drop for you guys. And so I think that's a good place for me to wrap this one. Look, if you like the video, thumbs it up. It helps me keep helping you. Share in the comments below. What are your takeaways? What are you thinking? What are your questions? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe for more videos. Come on now, let's keep this thing rolling. Let's keep it going. And with that, I am going to enjoy my Friday night, and I'm going to be focused as hell. Honestly, I will enjoy tonight, but if I'm really being candid, I'll finish on this. I'm going to be focused on business. And this is the thing. I'm having a glass of wine. You know what I'm saying? I am enjoying myself. All right. QLA is fun. This whole acquiring businesses stuff is fun. Starting a business, starting a startup is fun. It's a rush. It's energizing. It's thrilling. It's exciting. It's an adventure. Okay? It's awesome. But it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to work your ass off. So tonight, I'm shooting this video for you because this in some ways helps me in my business. There's a lot of benefits for me doing these videos personally, and I'm giving. But I'm always focused on success.